From the mountains of central British Columbia to you listening around the world, this, my friends, is Spaced Out Radio. I am your host, Dave Scott, sitting in the captain's chair of SOR headquarters. We welcome each and every one of you to tonight's show, including those listening on our terrestrial affiliates across North America and digitally on TalkStream Live and Revolution Radio. Remember, if you want to listen to our archives for free, you can do so at youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Just do me the favor, hit that subscribe button. You can also follow us on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio and my personal handle at Dave Scott SOR. Our website is spacedoutradio.com, where we have a plethora of features for you, including rocking out to Bumblefoot, reading up on Captain Shirk's SOR Newswire, and much more. Tonight's show is brought to you by Chive Charities. Help make the world 10% happier by visiting Chive Charities today. You can find them on our website. Justin Cancilliere loves telling stories. This guy's good at it, too, if you heard his podcast called Paratruth Radio. Led by the mythical dreams and astounding visions that can only be described through writing, he is in the business of scripting legends. His desire is to bring life, that is, which swarms in his mind and cascades into words. Oh, look at him paint a beautiful picture there. But it doesn't end there. No, he takes his artistic verbiage to podcasting as well, as I said, with the Paratruth podcast, a place where he can discuss the weird and unusual. This, along with an avid research into the paranormal, he helps quench his interest in the mystical. Justin has a book out called The Griffin, which can be found on Amazon. Then at the bottom of hour number 3, I will bring you the SOR Newswire, brought to you by Paranoia Magazine. Justin Cancilliere, this is going to be a fun night with you tonight, my friend. How you been doing?
I am fantastic. Just trying to survive this whole pandemic we got going on.
Aren't we all? Aren't we all? You know, I'm at the point where I'm looking around my house and I'm like, oh, I've seen these walls before. I've seen these walls before. My couch is not even comfortable anymore, man. Not even comfortable anymore. I just can't do it. I can't do it. Yeah. But we got it.
Yeah. Yeah, it's one of those things that, when it first started, I was like, what's everybody freaking out about? But the more that it goes along, it's like, well, we do have to take it seriously. The people that are freaking out with the buying out toilet paper and everything else, I think that's kind of ridiculous. But I do think that you have to take it seriously. You do have to understand that, we have to stop it. And the whole reason for the social distancing is to stop the spread, not so much to eradicate it, because I don't think they're going to be able to do that. But
well, you know what? The big thing is we got all our listeners here. We're all hanging out, having a good time, relaxing, chilling out, listening to you tonight talk about the paranormal and everything else that comes our way. Now, you're somebody who has had a lifelong interest in this. What brought you to this field, man?
Well, growing up, I loved Bigfoot. I loved Loch Ness Monster. And, I would have teachers that were logical thinkers and say, oh, why do you believe in that stuff? Well, I would do a lot of research, get books from the library, and it just kind of stuck with me all the way through going into my adulthood. I had a Ouija board as a kid. I had a tarot card deck as a kid. And, after a while, it faded away a little bit because, life kind of gets in the way and you really don't really lose interest, but it's just not there like it was. But I got divorced, came back to Ohio from where I was from, and my cousin and I, would sit by the campfire and talk about these different creatures. We would watch Ghost Adventures and Ghost Hunters, and we were big into Supernatural when it first came out. And so I was like, gosh, there's got to be a way for us to do that. And this was like 2008, 2009. Podcasting had just started. I had never heard the term podcasting. I had never even heard of it at all. And I'm like, there's got to be an online radio thing that you can do or something. And sure enough, I came across Blog Talk Radio. That's kind of how we got started. And then we started doing, paranormal investigation on top of that.
When you started your role as a podcaster with Paratruth, and then you got into the whole idea of getting into investigating the paranormal, did you want to delve that deep into it? And if so, what was pushing you towards that?
Yeah, we really did. That was kind of the whole point. We were actually kind of just using the radio show to show our research, and then we had seen ghost hunters numerous times, and I think that's kind of what spurned us to start the paranormal team. And I think that deep down we both had kind of really believed in it all of our lives. Actually, we'd gotten to the point where my cousin Eric was having these really, really bad nightmares, and he couldn't figure out what was causing them. And it took the paranormal for him to come back to Christianity. He was baptized Catholic, and he really didn't believe, I don't think, in comparison to how he does now. I've always had this weird feeling about the afterlife. At one point, I considered myself atheist or agnostic, and after doing paranormal investigations and doing research, it's like, well, if I can believe in this stuff, there must be something out there. There must be some grand scheme to all of this. But it was actually a really interesting journey to come full circle from believing, not believing, and then believing again.
Justin Cancilliere is our guest tonight on Spaced Out Radio. When you started looking into the paranormal and really started getting deep into it, did you end up thinking that it would be this controversial, this spazzy with the people involved and everything as controversial as it is? I mean, that was probably, when I started up, the biggest surprise for me, because I didn't expect what came about with everything. And what really, really is a almost a broken society.
Mm. Yeah. When we first started, it was kind of weird to realize that even though we had these TV shows and everything, it was still a lot of taboo topics. I mean, it was one of those things where when my parents were growing up, it was way more taboo than in comparison to when I've been into the field. And it was like there was just stuff people weren't touching on. And then, going further into it, you've got the different, I call them sects, because it literally is, people are tearing apart from each other. Like, we have the UFO people, and the UFO people don't want to be a part of the paranormal investigators. The paranormal investigators don't want to be a part of the cryptozoologists, and it's just this one vicious circle. And after we got started with podcasting, paranormal podcasting specifically, we were trying to reach out to other people, try and get that networking going. And then we got onto a network, and it was so weird, the drama that came with being a part of a network. It honestly baffled me. So when we left that network and we just started doing it by ourselves again, we were relieved. It was a weight lifted off of our shoulders, because I never would have thought, going into the paranormal and going into paranormal podcasting, that there was this drama that went on in the background.
I could ask you this, because, as I was growing as a radio show / podcast as well, and now we're up to, I think, 6 terrestrial radio stations that we're playing on, including Saga 960 AM in Mississauga, Ontario, our first Canadian station. Very pumped up for that. Very pumped up. Anyways, so one thing I wanted to ask you about that is, I always thought it was laughable. You get all these so-called quote, end quote, radio networks out there, and they're wanting you to pay $10 a month, $20 a month, $50 a month, and they're promising 50,000 listeners a show or 100,000 listeners. I've even heard people saying it's 1 million listeners per night, and all I need is $100 a month. I had one out of New York want to charge me $6,000. It was an NBC type. And I'm like thinking, when do I pay to play? Why would I pay to play? Who came up with that concept? Yet it's all over the paranormal, and people are buying into this for their podcast because they think, oh, I'm getting all these listeners. Well, no, you have a network on Blog Talk Radio. You're averaging 18 listeners a night, and you got your picture on somebody's website that has, you can easily check traffic on. Did you go through that as well, where people were trying to take advantage of you?
I never really had anybody trying to charge me. The network we started with, they were claiming that they were into the hundreds of thousands of listens. They did say that, but they never tried charging me. There was one that I won't name on air, but with Paratruth Radio specifically, I tried to reach out and be like, I'd love to have our show on your network, and they wanted to charge us like $100. I'm like, I'm already paying fees for my own broadcast. I'm not going to pay you fees on top of those fees.
I had some guy out of Chicago contacted me, and he sent me this email saying, hey, Dave, we really love Spaced Out Radio. We love what you do. Absolutely love what you're doing. And then the next paragraph, he goes into talking about sports. And I contacted him, and I said, dude, you do realize that I read my emails and that I do know that you have no idea what my show is about, what we're doing, and then you want me to pay you for this. And I said, next time, my answer is I'm going to give you a polite no. But the next time you contact another sucker to try and get money out of their pocket for your radio station, which is online, so you don't really have a radio station, my suggestion to you is do your homework on the shows before you actually send out some pre-written email. I just thought it was funny. I absolutely thought it was funny. But with Paratruth Radio, you've talked to a lot of people. You've heard a lot of stories over the years. And, some of those stories seem very, very real. Other ones, you kind of scratch your head saying, what's really going on? Did you ever have one of those guests or one of those stories that you just went, how is this person pawning this off? This is so, so fake.
Yeah, actually, I had actually started a sister podcast called Beyond Reason a couple of years ago, and I had a guy on who claimed that the government was spraying him with chemicals, but it wasn't like physically spraying him. They would somehow transport into his house, and they were invisible to the naked eye. And they were spraying him, and he would have to wear tinfoil under his hat because they were reading his thoughts. And it was all to he had reported very loud noises coming from the Air Force base that he lived close to. And as much as I didn't believe what he was telling me, he believed what he was telling me. And on top of that, what he said was he had people tell him that, you're not that important. And he said, it's not that I'm that important, it's that they are. And that kind of struck home for me, because it's like, I don't believe our governments tell us everything. And maybe that's for good reason, maybe it's not. But made a good point. You could be the smallest man on the totem pole, but if they feel threatened by what you have to say, they will retaliate. I don't know that they would become invisible and intangible to come into your house, but they could make your life miserable.
Oh, I got to tell you about Street Lamp Mike. So Street Lamp Mike apparently has these books, and apparently he has the patent for stealth technology because the American government doesn't have that, according to him, or what he has. We did a 2.5-hour show on literally a 23-second video that shows him recording a street lamp and trying to claim it's a UFO. Oh, it was beautiful. It was absolutely beautiful. And he was so convinced that he had captured a UFO that no matter what, I mean, you can tell it's a street light. You can tell with the glare coming off the camera. But I will say this. I thought he saw something. Just his emotion and his reaction and everything, I really do believe he saw something. I just don't believe he caught it on video. That's for sure. But if you ever want a good one, 23 seconds worth of video, Street Lamp Mike, he's a lot of fun. A lot of fun. Just, be careful. His book is not of quality of the Griffin. That's for sure. That's for sure. But I mean, and then the other memorable one for me was a gentleman named, I don't even remember his name. This is probably 3 years ago, where he said he was being protected by the men in black, and all he had to do was close his eyes and think about them, and they would come flying on in and save him from government agents that were chasing him down. I wish I could, I have to go back because I wish I could remember that show, man, because I really, really would love to listen to that again, because it was just, the folklorish espionage there was fantastic. Fantastic. But, we all have those people that come on out, maybe they want their 15 minutes of fame. Maybe they saw something, but just have the information incorrect. What do you do with your audience or your guests that you have when you have something that may be a little bit highly controversial, but you believe there's something there and you really want to try and bring that out and get the point across?
I guess I just try and make sure that I'm doing as much research as I can into whatever topic that they're talking about. If they've written a book, I do try and make sure that I read pretty much all the book. And it's hard to get that across over airwaves. It's something that I feel that it's more so in person that you're going to kind of get a little more feel for somebody. But when I have a show where I truly feel that person had 100% accurate information, I do try and push to the audience, hey, what are your guys' thoughts on this? Not that I don't do that with every show, but we try and push those topics out a little bit prior to the release of the actual episode, because we do pre-recorded. So I do try and make sure that we try and get a little more interest in it before the actual episode drops.
Justin Cancilliere is our guest tonight on Spaced Out Radio. We have about 4 minutes here before we have to go to break at the bottom of the hour. Justin, what do you love about the paranormal? What keeps you going?
That's a good question. It actually has kind of peaked for me. I've taken a little bit of a hiatus from doing the paranormal podcast because a lot of the stuff that we do is just a constant over and over again. So I haven't had somebody on in a really long time who has spurned that huge interest in me as of late. And I don't know if maybe it's just I've got too many pots in on the stove. I don't know if it's just I've come to the conclusion that maybe we won't have those answers that we're really looking for. But cryptids have always been the biggest interest for me. UFOs, of course, as well, but the cryptids out there, those have always been the most interesting, because no matter what we do, we can't 100% say any of these are real, but we can't say that they're not, because people are having experiences. We just don't have the bodies of these creatures that to say, oh, there it is. That's same thing for extraterrestrials. We can claim that we do, but there's nothing in museums or anything like that saying we've had contact with aliens. There's a dead body to prove it.
We always want that dead body, whether it's an alien, whether it's a Bigfoot or a dogman lying around the forest that just dropped dead of old age, or maybe eating too many magic mushrooms. But the fact is, we have to understand there is things going on. I mean, I have seen aliens. I have seen Sasquatch. And there is something, at least to me, that's very, very real about the endeavors that are happening in these places, which could actually happen anywhere at any time. What is your base on your conclusion on what we are looking for? Let's start off with aliens. Do you think they are from another planet visiting us, or from inner Earth like many believe?
Doing the research that I have, I think it's possible that there's multiple entities out there, both interplanetary, extraplanetary. I think it would be very naive for us to think that we are the only planet that can support life. But I do believe that maybe that there are beings that are traveling through different means to reach here as well. I've heard a couple people even believe that these extraterrestrials are even time travelers, the evolution of humanity coming back in time to try and help us, to deter us from the future that they're coming from.
Oh, do you think they are coming from the future?
I think that one is a little bit less likely, but anything's possible.
Well, we'll find out the possibilities as we continue on Spaced Out Radio here. Justin Cancilliere is our guest tonight. He's got a great book on Amazon called The Griffin, if you want to check it on out. He is a wordsmith, and we are going to bring that out. This guy can paint a picture like anything. Stick around, because we got more Spaced Out Radio. And hey, I want to remind all of you that you can follow us on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio, and my personal handle at Dave Scott SOR. Love to keep you on in the loop with what is going on. Stick around. More Spaced Out Radio coming up right after this.
Hey, space travelers, this is John Resig, founder of the Chive and Chive Charities. If you know anything about our website, you know we like to do things a little differently. We're not some faceless organization collecting money for a nebulous cause. Our donor dollars go directly toward life-improving items. Then we give those items directly to an underdog who needs it most. To become a donor with Spaced Out Radio's official charity, Chive Charities, just go to chivecharities.org/donate.
From the heartlands of Canada to beards around the world, we know how to take care of you. Fill your follicles with the Mighty Moose Beard Oil. All our oils and balms are handmade and 100% natural ingredients because we care about your beard. And hey, use the promo code SOR2019 and get your Mighty Moose Beard Oil today. You can check us out on our website, mightymoosebeard.com.
Hello, this is your guitar man, Ron Bumblefoot Thal, and I have to tell you, I love the response I get for Little Brother is Watching from Spaced Out Radio fans. It's amazing how music can inspire and make people think deeper about what's going on in the supernatural world. You can head over to my website, bumblefoot.com, to check out my music, my guitar workshops, my touring, even check out some of the hot sauces that I'm working on. And make sure you keep on listening, because with Spaced Out Radio, you know Little Brother is watching.
we're adding to the entertainment online for Spaced Out Radio. I'm Amber Beckrud, and I want to invite you to subscribe to our YouTube channel and check out Cryptid Tales, where I will take you on a journey into some of the strangest legends and lore from around the world, relaying the stories to you of the strange creatures and experiences that people have had throughout time. You can find Cryptid Tales at youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. And while you're there, don't forget to check out our free archives and leave a comment. See you there.
Hey everybody, the SOR Space Travelers is open. For just $5 a month, you can hang out with Dave and our crew privately in our members-only section. With your signing, you'll receive newsletters on what's going on with Spaced Out Radio. You'll have direct contact with the host during the show in our chat, live streaming videos, and a great forum for your posts and more. Become a space traveler now at spacedoutradio.com.
You wanted new SOR gear, and now you can have it. The SOR Vault is fully stocked with t-shirts, hats, hoodies, mugs, and everything in between, with great logos for you to choose from. So head on over to spacedoutradio.com, click on the SOR Vault, and go shopping. Pricing is quite affordable, and you can look good representing your favorite show. So go to our website and pick up your new SOR wear at the SOR Vault today.
If you like it hot, real hot, then heat up your meals with Bumblefoot hot sauce.
Get your Bumblefoot hot sauce today. The sauce, Bumblicious, and the 4 million Scoville unit Bumble. We're going in hot, real hot, coming out even hotter.
Keep the milk nearby and tantalize your taste buds tonight.
Bumblefoot hot sauce, available now at kajans.com.
Cold drinks, great food, and the best music in Vancouver. The Moose Vancouver is the place to be, open until 2 a.m. nightly. Everything on the menu starts at just $6.95. Who serves food that cheap anymore? At the Moose, you'll never know who you'll run into. Rock stars, actors, athletes. It's the place everyone wants to be. So join us at the Moose Vancouver, the official party bar of Spaced Out Radio.
Hello, Space Travelers. It's me again, Carl. Don't forget to join the Space Travelers Club for just $5 a month and follow Spaced Out Radio on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio. Our Instagram, Dave Scott SOR. Our Facebook page is Spaced Out Radio Show. Our archives are free at youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Come woo it up with Spaced Out Radio today. Bye!
Are you looking for great advertising value for your company? Look no further than Spaced Out Radio. We have a multitude of places to get your name out there, including commercial ads during the show, special promotions, and banners on our website. Our audience is proven to support the companies that support our show. We can make your budget work for you. So for more information, please contact us at sales@spacedoutradio.com.
At spacedoutradio.com, we are keeping you up to date on all the news with the SOR Newswire. Captain Shirk leads the team that is bringing you the news of the day and exclusive stories on everything paranormal and supernatural. It's free to read, it's updated daily, and it's right there for you. The SOR Newswire is a one-stop shop for the news of the day. Check it out at spacedoutradio.com today.
Need that weekend supernatural fix? Look no further than Spaced Out Saturday right here at spacedoutradio.com. I'm Stacey Edwards.
And I'm John Edwards. Each Saturday night, Stacey and I are going to bring you the best in paranormal, cryptids, UFOs, you name it, and we're going there.
It's all about the experience and to share the knowledge with all of you.
So tune us in every Saturday night on Spaced Out Saturdays, starting at 9:06 p.m. Pacific, 12:06 a.m. Eastern, only at spacedoutradio.com.
We're taking Sunday nights out of this world on Spaced Out Radio. This is Michael W. Hall, also known as the Paranormal Lawyer. Together, we're going to go on an exciting journey into the unknown. I'm going to bring you some of the best interviews in the paranormal and supernatural to start your new week off on a freaky note. So tune in to Spaced Out Sundays with me, Michael W. Hall, only on spacedoutradio.com.
Welcome back to the second half hour of Spaced Out Radio tonight. I am your host, Dave Scott, sitting in the captain's chair of SOR headquarters. Always a pleasure to be broadcasting to you live. Anyways, want to remind you that if you've missed portions of this show or others, you can check out our free archives at youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Just do me a favor, hit that subscribe button. Our website is spacedoutradio.com, where we have a plethora of features for you, including rocking out to Bumblefoot and doing a little reading and investigating on Captain Shirk's SOR Newswire. Don't forget, you can follow me on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio for the show, my personal profile at Dave Scott SOR. I'd love to add you if you don't mind, so let's do that too. Tonight we are talking everything paranormal, cryptid, ufological, even about griffins, man, as we have Justin Cancilliere as our guest tonight. He's got a book on Amazon called The Griffin, got a great podcast called Paratruth. If you want to check it on out, I highly suggest you do. Justin, welcome back to the show, man.
Yeah, thanks for having me on.
You ever have a good UFO sighting?
Actually, yeah. Not to the point where, I could say that was definitely a flying saucer or anything like that. But a few years ago, I was working for a nursing home here in North Dakota, and I'd always have to go kind of early in the morning. I was the morning guy. And I was driving to work, and I know I was tired because it had been a long night, but I'm driving, and all of a sudden I see a light shoot straight up in the air and then just shoot away. And I'm like, no, there's no way I saw what I saw. So I'm thinking about it. I'm racking my brain about it. So I started talking to my co-host, Eric, via text and saying, I saw something. I don't know what the heck it was. And he's like, well, technically, it was a UFO. It wasn't an unidentified flying object because you couldn't identify it. But, after talking to a couple of people that I worked with and whatever, it was kind of coming from the area of an Air Force base here. So it was like, that's really weird and interesting all at the same time. But that's kind of been the only one I've really had. Maybe I'm just not paying attention enough, but it was the most memorable one for me.
When you look at the sighting that you had, and you've heard numerous sightings and researched a lot of these topics when it comes to UFOs, what do you think's actually going on in the sky?
I think it's a little of a two-edged sword there. I mean, I do believe that we do have some type of visitation here. Like I said earlier, it would be naive of us to think that we are the only planet that supports life. And I do believe that if that life out there is space-worthy and has gotten to the technological advances that we haven't yet, they would be curious about what's going on. But I do also believe that our governments are experimenting with other propulsions and other aerial vehicles that maybe they are reverse engineering. There are those that believe that we are in contact with these extraterrestrials. Our governments are, and they're in league with them, quote unquote, in league with them. And that, that's where a lot of our advanced technology is coming from. And I never would have thought that I would be holding a supercomputer in the palm of my hand, but here we are in 2020, and the advances just keep coming even faster than people really understand. So I honestly think it's twofold. I think that some of it could be visitors, and I do think that our governments are experimenting with technology that we just don't know about yet.
I always wonder how much is ours. That's probably the big thing. And I know, like, we got Sweet Stevie and Science Bob with UAPTN who are trying to build a node here that can track UFOs. It's going to be operational and available for the public. It's actually not a military project, which is kind of cool. Do you think we're at that point where we got to get more civilian involvement regarding UFO study outside of what we see on the internet on a daily basis?
Absolutely. I honestly think that we need that as a whole, not just in ufology, but in multiple fields. But the only way that the truth will really be discovered is by civilian discovery. You know, the government wants to say that they're divulging everything that they have, and maybe they are, maybe they aren't. But I do believe there is a point that the government has to cut off any information that they may have to the public, because just like we talked about this COVID-19 stuff and the pandemic that's going on, freaking people out. Just imagine how people would be freaked out if they truly understood and had that 100% I've seen it proof that aliens exist. How many religious people would question their faith from that? And it's just one of those things that I think that the public do need to get a little more involved with the research, as well as ways for us to truly capture the UFOs, even if there's sightings of aliens, even the cryptids. I mean, we've had these people that are trying to get proof, and Bigfoot as an example. We've got trail cams, we've got people catching them with the drones now, but the biggest problem is it's a blurry picture. It's out of focus. The creature is moving too fast, or whatever the case may be. You know, I've had somebody tell me that they believe that Bigfoot and Dogman can put out an infrasound that kind of messes with the capture, the picture capture. So I honestly think that, I think we need more public involvement.
I think so, too. I think that's a way to really put the pressure on, you know, whether it's the governments of the world or these agencies that are trying to cover things up in order to find out what is going on. You know, I mean, we don't know their secrets. We don't know what's hiding at Area 51 or Wright-Patterson, which is more in your neck of the woods, and everywhere like that. You know, there's so much security and security measures in place over top of security measures that even the employees working on, say, one, you know, piece of equipment don't even know what they're actually working on it for the most part. So do you think that with the public involvement in trying to, you know, not put up blurry images, or not trying to, you know, suck up to places like fake hoaxers like Secure Team 10, that we are actually going to be able to get real data, real effort in the UFO community that can move this forward?
I do think so, and I truly hope that we can get to that point. You know, for a while now, I've kind of questioned if we're going to even see that in my particular lifetime. But I do think at some point we will, especially if it's more so civilian involvement compared to military or government. I think that no matter what, we'll always be kept in the dark, except for if the general public are involved.
So with the general public getting involved, what does the general public have to do, in your opinion, in order to push this to that next level? Is it about videos?
Honestly, I don't think video or just pictures are going to do it, because there are plenty of ways to fake it now. I honestly think that there are hoaxers out there, but I do think that there are people that are truly capturing stuff that we just don't know about. I guess just make sure that we're advancing the technology ourselves over just getting fed what we're getting. On top of that, just doing the research and providing whatever evidence that you come across. There always are going to be disbelievers. I try to keep a healthy skepticism, but I'm not going to just say, no, that's not true, or that's not accurate, or I don't believe that, because there's so much stuff coming out now that it's hard to not believe it.
The only problem that we're going to have with the internet and places like YouTube these days is, as we continue to move on and get more technically advanced, there is going to be way, way more ability to make CGI, way more professional, look way more real than what it currently does. Do you think we are in the start of the dying days of any type of UFO type research with video online?
I do. I honestly think that the way to fake it is just too great now that even, and I've said this to my cousin who is deeply Christian religious, Jesus Christ himself could come back and people would look at it and be like, no. He's not floating from the sky. That's all just CGI and special effects.
Well, and it's funny you mention that, because I always say to my listeners, and I've said this when I've spoken elsewhere as well, that realistically, UFOs and alien contact is the second biggest story in mankind history, next to Jesus Christ himself coming back down from the heavens. Why do you think, there is such a big part of this world that, and I don't want to get into a real religious connotation here, but just kind of for discussion, why there's so much of a big piece of this world that still believes in biblical teachings and prophecy and everything like that, yet they turn their backs completely when they also know that science has proven the universe is infinite. We don't have a beginning. We don't have an end. There is no time. And to think that, even in putting it in a religious context, if God created everything, are we naive enough to think that in an infinite universe that we're the only planet where God put people or creatures, for that matter?
Right. Well, I mean, I've met different religious people that do believe in extraterrestrials. Then there are those that say that no, Earth is special, that God created Earth, and He created all the other planets, but Earth was the only one with life. And I think that's a closed-minded mindset. I think that there is brainwashing to an extent in religion. I'm not going to say that it's purposeful. I don't think that people are trying to make it that way, but it does come to that point because the most devout believe that the Bible is 100% truth, which I'm not saying it is or it isn't, but I honestly think that we get into a mindset with religion specifically where whatever religion you're in, that is the true religion and that's it. And, growing up in Christianity, I've studied different religions throughout my life. And, I've come to the major conclusion that nobody has it right. Same thing with the belief in aliens. We're coming to more and more conclusions now, like we just discussed earlier, where Maybe it's these beings are traveling from interplanetary instead of extraplanetary. Maybe they're interdimensional. Maybe they're extra dimensional. And I think when you think of the interdimensional and extra dimensional, that kind of ties into religion. So I think it's a closed-minded type of mentality with a lot of these people that are deeply religious.
So when you go back to your podcasts for a second here, Paratruth Radio, I want to ask you, is there a story you have heard from someone that you have talked to, interviewed, or even discussed privately that has really stuck with you and really changed your mind on what aliens really are?
I think Stanton Friedman was a good one. We had talked to him about UFOs, and he's one that is a true scientist, and he has done a lot of research and has brought a lot of evidence to the table, as well as to even debunk a lot of the stuff. But he was one that really sticks out in my mind as to somebody who is in, or was, I believe he retired now, but he was one that really opened my eyes a little bit to understand that there is way more to it than what we're really seeing. UFOs specifically, because there are man-made ones, and there are ones that we just don't know what they are. So yeah, he was definitely by far the one that sticks out in my mind.
What did he tell you that really stuck with you?
Oh, this was years ago. I'm trying to remember now. I think it was just the research that he had done in comparison to others, and also being a scientist on top of that, because a lot of people that write books about UFOs and aliens are just ones that are experiencers or ones that are theorists. But he had talked about how the propulsion is possible. It's just we aren't able to replicate that technology on our planet, because the way we understand science is completely different in comparison to somebody that has already had that advanced technology.
That makes sense. So when you look at everything, do you buy a lot of these stories, Justin, in everything that you've heard and investigated, where people are actually having, these contact with the Pleiadians out of the star series of Lyra and the Pleiades, or that there is life on Venus, and we have men on the moon interacting with extraterrestrials, and Mars has even a few Starbucks chains on it right now? What's your thoughts about all of that and our role in everything?
I honestly don't believe that we have people on Mars or the moon. Maybe I'm wrong. I honestly believe that something happened to Mars, and there may have been life there at one point. There are those that even believe that humanity migrated to Earth from Mars because of whatever catastrophe that happened there. But I think, just like I was talking about closed-minded people, I think it would be closed-minded to not take any credence from that. I just don't personally believe it. The people that say that they're communicating with Pleiadians or other extraterrestrial life out there, sure, it's possible that somehow they are telepathically talking to beings thousands of light years away. Maybe they're talking to entities that they are saying that they're extraterrestrials, and that's the best explanation that they can give to the people that they're communicating with. Because, I mean, a lot of psychics and mediums are talking to whatever it is that they're talking to. Spirits is the best definition that we can give it right now. But maybe they're not talking to spirits. Maybe they're talking to something completely different. But the only explanation that these beings can give is I'm a spirit, because that's what people believe in. And that's the same thing for people that are being communicated by extraterrestrials. That's the only explanation that these beings can give, because that's what that person believes.
So with that, do you believe, as we got about a minute and a half here before we got to go to break at the top of the hour, do you believe then people are truly experiencing what they say they are?
I do. Even if I don't believe that it is possible, I believe that they believe it is. But I do find credence in what they're telling me. I don't tell too many people this, but I am a sensitive myself, and I do have those communications of whatever it is that's communicating with me. Yeah, I do believe that they are having those communications. To what extent? I don't know. I've talked about a lot of the people that have written stuff in the Bible. And I say to myself, maybe we weren't getting it right when whoever was communicating with us to write these holy texts, that our human minds are only capable of perceptions that we know. So I think that we are, but I don't know that we're getting it all right from whatever it is that's communicating with us.
I don't know either. I really do not know either. And that's the big mystery that we have here, my friend. That's the big mystery. And you know what? We're going to shift gears, because when we go into third gear coming back out of the break, we are going to get into Bigfoot. I want to know Justin's thoughts about Bigfoot, man, because I've seen it. I make no bones about it. I've seen the creature. Have you? Let's talk some Bigfoot when we get back on Spaced Out Radio. Justin Cancilliere, our guest tonight, author of The Griffin, which can be found on Amazon. Stay tuned. More Spaced Out Radio right after this.
The party is always on at the Moose Vancouver. The Moose Vancouver is where you want to be when visiting Canada's West Coast. Open until 2 a.m. nightly, the Moose cranks up the rock while serving some of the best rated food in the city. The menu starts at $6.95. Why party anywhere else in Vancouver when the Moose is right there? Get your horns up and rock with the Moose, the official party bar of Spaced Out Radio.
Get your horns up with me on Spaced Out Radio. This is Ron Bumblefoot Thal. Come tune in to SOR, where you can hear me rock out with Little Brother is Watching, the official theme song of Spaced Out Radio. And then come on over to bumblefoot.com, where you can find out about my tour schedule, my music, and everything else. Bumblefoot.com keeps you up to date on what I'm doing and the best way to stay in touch with my music and music camps. Sign up for my newsletter at bumblefoot.com, and remember, Little Brother is Watching.
Hi there, this is the paranormal lawyer Michael W. Hall. I'd like to invite you to listen in each Sunday night, where we're going to open up your eyes to everything strange and paranormal. I will be hosting some great guests with topics that affect us all, such as UFOs, ghosts, and everything paranormal. Let's learn together on Spaced Out Radio Sunday with myself, Michael W. Hall, the paranormal lawyer at spacedoutradio.com.
The SOR Vault is open for business, and do we have some cool swag for you to pick up? All you have to do is head over to our website and click on the SOR Vault. You have a variety of cool logos to choose from and put them on anything you want. T-shirts, hoodies, hats, coffee mugs, you name it, we can get it to you. So do your shopping by supporting the store you love. Get your Spaced Out Radio swag at the SOR Vault today.
I'm feeling a little spicy tonight. What to do? What to do?
Why not get Bumblefuck?
4 million Scoville units of pure hard rock. Bumblefoot hot sauces come in 3 flavors. The burning Bumble. Tone it down a bit with Bumblicious and throw the sauce on everything.
Spice it up. Bumble me, baby. Bumblefoot hot sauce. Get it today at kajans.com.
Hey everyone, I'm John Edwards.
And I'm Stacey Edwards. Together we're taking over Saturday nights on Spaced Out Radio, where we're going to bring our own experiences of the paranormal and talk to the best people we can find to help bring you answers to your strange tales.
We're here to entertain your need for weekend woo! So tune us in at spacedoutradio.com starting at 9:06 Pacific, 12:06 a.m. Eastern, where we can all get a little spooky together.
Spaced Out Saturday nights right here at spacedoutradio.com.
We are scouring the world for the most intriguing stories of your day. Take the time to read up on the SOR Newswire, where our team, led by Captain Shirk, will deliver to you some of the best paranormal and supernatural news, along with some stories that will blow your mind from the weird to the wacky. It's the news outside the news that piques interest, and that's what we're looking to deliver to you. The SOR Newswire, only at spacedoutradio.com.
Are you intrigued by Paranormal Talk Radio? You'll love the new Paranormal Radio app from TalkStream Live. You'll find a great selection of talk shows covering UFOs, ghosts, strange phenomena, and much more. Download the Paranormal Radio app now and start listening to the very best in paranormal talk entertainment, including the network you're listening to right now, the Paranormal Radio app, free in Google Play and the iOS App Store.
Hey, space travelers, this is John Resig, founder of the Chive and Chive Charities. If you know anything about our website, you know we like to do things a little differently. We're not some faceless organization collecting money for a nebulous cause. Our donor dollars go directly toward life-improving items. Then we give those items directly to an underdog who needs it most. To become a donor with Spaced Out Radio's official charity, Chive Charities, just go to chivecharities.org/donate.
Hello, space travelers. It's me again, Carl. Don't forget to join the Space Travelers Club for just $5 a month. And follow Spaced Out Radio on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio. Our Instagram, Dave Scott SOR. Our Facebook page is Spaced Out Radio Show. Our archives are free at youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Come woo it up with Spaced Out Radio today. Bye!
Looking for creative ways to get your company out in the public? How about advertising on Spaced Out Radio? Our sales department is waiting to hear from you, and we can work around any budget. From commercial spots to banners to special promotions, there are many opportunities to get your name and product out to our SOR listeners. For a price guide and more information, please contact us at sales@spacedoutradio.com.
For the price of 1 cup of coffee a month, you can become an SOR Space Traveler. The Space Travelers Club is a place where you can interact with other listeners, either live during the show or on our great forum. We want your stories, pictures, comments, and ideas. You'll get live video streams, exclusive content, and be a part of our newsletter. Stay in touch with everything SOR. The Space Travelers Club is just $5 a month at spacedoutradio.com.
Hi, this is Amber Beckrud, and I want to invite you to subscribe to our YouTube channel where we store all of the SOR show archives for free. And as an added bonus, every 2 weeks I'm posting brand new content on Cryptid Tales, where I will get into some of the spookier legends and folklore from around the world and tell the stories that go with them. Find us at youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio and check out Cryptid Tales today. Drop a comment and let me know what you want to hear. See you there.
We all know on Spaced Out Radio we love a good beard and mustache. so why not take care of your facial hair with Mighty Moose Beard Oil? Made in Canada, we're taking care of beards and stashes around the world. We use 100% natural ingredients with our oils and balms to make your whiskers feel silky smooth. Use promo code SOR2019 at mightymoosebeard.com today.
Are you an experiencer of something strange that can't be explained? Do you want help finding out what's going on? I'm Ryan Stacy, head of the Experiencer Support Association, otherwise known as TESSA. We've teamed up with Spaced Out Radio to investigate cases filled out in the SOR Sightlines report. We are independent and there's no cost to what we do. All we need is your experience. Let's find out what's happening together on the SOR Sightlines report.
You're listening to Spaced Out Radio with Dave Scott. Follow Dave on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio and on Facebook, Spaced Out Radio Show.
Welcome back to the second hour of Spaced Out Radio tonight. I am your host, Dave Scott. Thank you so much for joining us. We welcome back everyone listening in on our terrestrial affiliates across the continent. And on the digital side, we are on TalkStream Live 24/7 and Revolution Radio. Remember, you can check out all of our archives for free at youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Just do old Davey the favor. Hit that subscribe button. The Desert Clam has set the password for tonight. In the SOR Space Travelers Club, Abriaction. Abriaction is your password. Use it wisely, Space Travelers, as the Clam sets the password each and every night right here on Spaced Out Radio. Our website is spacedoutradio.com, where we have a plethora of features for you, including rocking out to Bumblefoot and staying up to date on Captain Shirk's SOR Newswire. Hey, if you're on Twitter, don't forget to follow the show at Spaced Out Radio, along with my personal handle at Dave Scott SOR. Tonight we are talking with author Justin Cancilliere. He has a great podcast called Paratruth Radio, and we're talking UFOs, cryptids. We're getting into everything tonight, my friends, because that's what we do on a Friday night. Justin, welcome back to the show.
I'm glad to be back.
Awesome. Bigfoot. You're a big fan of Bigfoot. What leads you down the road to this mysterious creature?
Well, as a kid, it was just the fact that there's this creature out there that nobody has captured or put into a zoo or had any type of substantial evidence. As I grew up and started doing research into it again, I started to get a little bit on the skeptical side of things. And the only reason was that there's so much faked evidence out there, and there's so much evidence that isn't fake, but you can't really tell what it is. Or for example, they get the hair and scat samples and it always comes back inconclusive, or a species that we know of. But I honestly feel now that there is a creature out there that is Bigfoot. What it is, I honestly don't know. There's this talk now that this is an interdimensional creature, or it can phase in and out of our existence. There are those that do believe that it's a 100% physical creature, that it's just some type of missing link to the human evolution or ape evolution. You've talked about that you've had experiences with it. I have not. So, unfortunately, with today's society, unless it's right there in your face, nobody truly believes that there's a certain this or that out there.
Interesting. So the what people are seeing out in the forest, then, these wild creatures, big hairy men, 300 to 500 pounds plus, standing anywhere from 6 feet to 10 feet tall. We are looking at a vast array of incredible sightings here. And, it's very easy to tell the difference between a bear and what people are seeing in the Sasquatch realm. how do you tell whether or not, we're actually looking at what we're looking? Because there's a lot of people who've been in the forest for years, and have never seen a thing. And yet there are people who walk in their first time, maybe going for a hike or geocaching or something along those lines. And the next thing you know, right in front of them, crossing a trail, is this incredible beast.
Mm-hmm. I honestly believe that these creatures do, I don't know if they camouflage themselves or how they do it, but they only allow themselves to be seen by those that they deem fit. I honestly think that there are some sightings out there that can be put in the file of misidentification, because there are those that go out into the wilderness. Maybe they don't go out that often into the wilderness, and their mind starts to race when they see or hear something that they don't recognize. But the ones that have truly seen these creatures, I honestly do believe that they choose who they reveal themselves to. The ones that are captured on camera or supposedly captured on camera, they just don't know that the technology is there where they would have to hide themselves. But yeah, I honestly think that they're choosing to make themselves known.
Why do you say that they're choosing to make themselves known? That's an interesting comment.
Because I mean, just like you had mentioned, there are those that haven't been in the wilderness their entire lives and never seen anything that is remotely close to a Sasquatch or Bigfoot. On top of that, I do have a lot of people that I've talked to over time that there are those that have interactions with these creatures that they have never even really seen the physical, but they are hearing the howling, the wood knocks, and that sort of thing. I did talk to somebody once who leaves offerings for a family of Bigfoot, and in return, they leave trinkets and little like dolls made out of branches and that sort of a thing. And I just through communication with people that have had interactions with them, there's a lot of them that have said that these creatures can talk to them telepathically. That a lot of times, if there is some type of communication, whatever it is, they've gotten the feeling that these creatures just made themselves known for a reason because they deemed it fit that this person was capable of understanding.
So when they are capable of understanding, do you believe they're telepathic as well?
I do believe that it's a possibility, yeah. Because the communication, the vocal communications that you hear about is just the howling usually, or growling. If they are something beyond what we are thinking they are, like the ape creature, in comparison to there are those that say that these creatures were left here by whatever race of aliens, or I mean, even if you believe that they're interdimensional beings, if they can go in and out of our existence, they have to have some type of communication that we just don't understand. So yeah, I do believe that that's a good possibility.
The whole thing is there is a great debate within the Bigfoot community whether or not this is an animal left over from Pangea when we were all one continent millions of years ago, and whether or not this is some sort of supernatural type creature that many First Nations and indigenous people across North America, and the world for that matter, tend to wonder and believe. Where do you stand on that? Or is there some sort of compromise that maybe we're missing?
To be honest, I do believe that it is probably a physical being. And if it is truly a physical being, they're probably the best hide and seek champions I've ever seen in my life. But like I said earlier, it could be that they are somehow camouflaging themselves and only revealing themselves to those that they choose to. But yeah, I honestly think that it is a physical creature. Maybe it does have some type of abilities we just don't know about. But the biggest issue I have with the whole interdimensional or supernatural aspect of it is we're kind of throwing that label on everything now in comparison to years ago where we said Bigfoot's a physical creature. Any of these cryptids are physical creatures. UFOs are extraterrestrials from other planets. Now we're just kind of throwing that label of interdimensional or extra-dimensional out there on all of these different things that are in the paranormal now.
Is it paranormal, though? Should we be looking at Bigfoot in a paranormal way, or should we be looking at things more scientifically?
I truly think that we should be looking at it more scientifically. The only reason that we have this, like I said, the hair and scat evidence, and it comes back unknown, is because we don't have the DNA of whatever creature this is coming from to compare it to. So if we were to ever truly capture a live or dead a Bigfoot, then we could compare it and say, yep, that's a Bigfoot. But until that time comes, there's no way of saying that what it's related to or what it is.
So where do you think this thing is hiding? Do you think there's a great number of these, or do you think maybe this is an endangered species?
It could be an endangered species. Something that my co-host and I have talked about on occasion is that, there are caves that go pretty deep in the earth. And if this creature is as big and bulky as people say it is, it could have adapted itself to live subterraneanly. We do have major forests still that there are, the forests are so deep that humans have not really touched the areas that they could be living in. But either it's that they're endangered, or they just they travel to areas where they know that there's not going to be much human traffic.
The areas where they are seeing, because it looks like we have in North America here a number of different creatures. So, for instance, here in the Pacific Northwest, which runs through the Cascade Mountains from British Columbia down to the Northern California, we seem to have these gigantic creatures that are between 8 and 10 feet tall, 300 to 500 pounds plus. You go a little bit north into that Alaska region, and they seem to be getting bigger, and yet they seem to be smaller around the Florida Panhandle and into the west towards Louisiana. Are we dealing with different species of this topics, do you think? Or are we dealing with just ones that have adapted to their environment but still the same species?
I honestly think it's kind of a mutation, adapting to their environment kind of deal, kind of like humans. We have different colors of people because of different parts of our genetics that have adapted over time. People that are from Africa are darker skinned because they're in a climate where they need to be protected from UV rays a little bit more in comparison to, the Europeans who kind of have colonized pretty much everywhere that you can think of. We didn't need that protection from the UV because we had different climates at the time. So I honestly think it's just a genetic mutation to adapt to their environment.
I wonder about that because I can see them being more aggressive because the Sasquatch up here, outside of the rogue ones that you hear around Mount St. Helens, they seem to be very docile, not wanting to get involved with anything. You know, if the humans are around, they scatter as quickly as possible. And, you know, when you get to, you know, into that bayou area where there's a lot of creatures that can, you know, be a little cranky, whether it's water moccasins or gators or whatever it may be, the creature seems to be more aggressive towards what or who is in its territory. So that's why I'm wondering if you think it's very much something that is specialized or has adapted to its own region.
Well, I mean, look at humans. That we can be super aggressive or super docile depending on a situation. So I honestly think that it's the same situation for Bigfoot. It's just more so what their environment is providing them in comparison to a different species. Something that I've kind of tossed around, and I have no evidence to support this whatsoever, but I've honestly kind of wondered if Dogman and Bigfoot are from a similar line, just maybe just different species or cousins in some way, because I've kind of always wondered, you know, as of late, we've had more sightings of the Dogman. And I'm like, you know, maybe these creatures are somehow related to Bigfoot, because a lot of cases that I've heard where there are Dogmen, there are Bigfoot sightings kind of coinciding. I've even heard of the Bigfoot kind of being protective of humans against the Dogmen. And that could be different species in comparison to what I'm saying too. But if a certain Bigfoot had kind of gone feral, you would think that they would get way more aggressive. They might get kind of pointier teeth. So it's something that's kind of, I've kind of thought about a lot.
Stick throwing, rock throwing, bluff charges that people can't see but can only hear. You know, this thing has perfected camouflage. Absolutely perfected camouflage. What do you think is going on?
Well, I honestly feel that somebody actually had mentioned this to me, that Bigfoot somehow has this infrasound capability, and that is the best explanation that I've heard in a long time about how Bigfoot is camouflaging itself, not just to cameras, but you know, even to the human eye. If infrasound is vibrated a certain way, it could potentially camouflage people or beings. And on top of that, maybe they understand that they have to rub themselves with mud or grass or whatever the case may be to just make sure that they camouflage into their surroundings. But yeah, the infrasound thing was actually something that a fellow podcaster of mine, and he runs a Dogman society in New York, had kind of explained it to me, and I was honestly really intrigued by that particular explanation.
So, how did he explain it? What did he say? We've got about 3 minutes left.
Well, he was just talking about that the the howling or the screams are a part of that infrasound ability that they have, but they can vibrate the sound around them to it. Like, that's why we have only blurry pictures of Bigfoot, or distorted video, because the infrasound is distorting that image. But I've kind of gone a little bit further with that, and I truly believe that infrasound could probably camouflage to even the naked eye, because our eyes can only see into certain spectrums, and that is talking about light, but that could be sound as well.
That gets into the woo factor, though. That doesn't make it sound very animalistic.
That's true. I guess I've never really seen all the scientific facts on infrasound, but that raises a good point too, that it can kind of go over to the other side.
Justin Cancilliere is our guest tonight on Spaced Out Radio. We're going to break here in about 90 seconds, Justin. With that, and you know, we look at this creature and we kind of idolize it a little bit. Do you think that, you know, the amount of people that are out there searching for it right now, well, obviously not right now, but in general over the last few years, do you think we're getting closer to actually finding out what it is?
Just like with extraterrestrials, I do think we're getting closer. Again, if it's going to happen in my lifetime or not, I don't know. But I do think that the biggest step for that would be to actually capture one of these creatures, because if we can get the comparisons to the DNA of any type of evidence that we're finding, then we can absolutely 100% say that the evidence that we caught was to this creature that we've finally captured, in whether it's a dead body or in some type of living capture.
I don't know if we could do that, though. I really don't know. If we could even capture one of these. I mean, you'd think we would find something. You'd think we'd have found something by now. But, Justin, I'm going to get you to hold on. We are going to go to break here at the bottom of the hour. Justin Cancilliere is our guest tonight on Spaced Out Radio. He's got a great book out. It's on Amazon called The Griffin. We'll hit him up on that in the next half hour. We'll take your questions. And, you know, we'll talk a little Dogman as well. Let's go down that Dogman road. It never hurts to talk a little bit of Dogman. Yeah, let's do it. Spaced Out Radio continues right after this.
Are you looking for great advertising value for your company? Look no further than Spaced Out Radio. We have a multitude of places to get your name out there, including commercial ads during the show, special promotions, and banners on our website. Our audience is proven to support the companies that support our show. We can make your budget work for you. So for more information, please contact us at sales@spacedoutradio.com.
From the heartlands of Canada to beards around the world, we know how to take care of you. Fill your follicles with the Mighty Moose Beard Oil. All our oils and balms are handmade and 100% natural ingredients because we care about your beard. And hey, use the promo code SOR2019 and get your Mighty Moose Beard Oil today. You can check us out on our website, mightymoosebeard.com.
We're adding to the entertainment online for Spaced Out Radio. I'm Amber Beckrud, and I want to invite you to subscribe to our YouTube channel and check out Cryptid Tales, where I will take you on a journey into some of the strangest legends and lore from around the world, relaying the stories to you of the strange creatures and experiences that people have had throughout time. You can find Cryptid Tales at youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. And while you're there, don't forget to check out our free archives and leave a comment. See you there.
Hello, space travelers. It's me again, Carl. Don't forget to join the Space Travelers Club for just $5 a month and follow Spaced Out Radio on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio. Our Instagram, Dave Scott SOR. Our Facebook page is Spaced Out Radio Show. Our archives are free at youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Come woo it up with Spaced Out Radio today. Bye!
Hello, this is your guitar man, Ron Bumblefoot Thal, and I have to tell you, I love the response I get for Little Brother is Watching from Spaced Out Radio fans. It's amazing how music can inspire and make people think deeper about what's going on in the supernatural world. You can head over to my website, bumblefoot.com, to check out my music, my guitar workshops, my touring, even check out some of the hot sauces that I'm working on. And make sure you keep on listening, because with Spaced Out Radio, you know Little Brother is watching.
We're taking Sunday nights out of this world on Spaced Out Radio. This is Michael W. Hall, also known as the Paranormal Lawyer. Together, we're going to go on an exciting journey into the unknown. I'm going to bring you some of the best interviews in the paranormal and supernatural to start your new week off on a freaky note. So tune in to Spaced Out Sundays with me, Michael W. Hall, only on spacedoutradio.com.
Hey, space travelers, this is John Resig, founder of the Chive and Chive Charities. If you know anything about our website, you know we like to do things a little differently. We're not some faceless organization collecting money for a nebulous cause. Our donor dollars go directly toward life-improving items. Then we give those items directly to an underdog who needs it most. To become a donor with Spaced Out Radio's official charity, Chive Charities, just go to chivecharities.org/donate.
Need that weekend supernatural fix? Look no further than Spaced Out Saturday right here at spacedoutradio.com. I'm Stacey Edwards.
And I'm John Edwards. Each Saturday night, Stacey and I are going to bring you the best in paranormal, cryptids, UFOs, you name it, and we're going there.
It's all about the experience and to share the knowledge with all of you.
So tune us in every Saturday night on Spaced Out Saturdays, starting at 9:06 p.m. Pacific, 12:06 a.m. Eastern, only at spacedoutradio.com.
If you like it hot, real hot, then heat up your meals with Bumblefoot hot sauce.
Get your Bumblefoot hot sauce today. The sauce, Bumblicious, and the 4 million Scoville unit Bumble. We're going in hot, real hot, coming out even hotter.
Keep the milk nearby and tantalize your taste buds tonight.
Bumblefoot hot sauce, available now at kajans.com.
You wanted new SOR gear, and now you can have it. The SOR Vault is fully stocked with t-shirts, hats, hoodies, mugs, and everything in between, with great logos for you to choose from. So head on over to spacedoutradio.com, click on the SOR Vault, and go shopping. Pricing is quite affordable, and you can look good representing your favorite show. So go to our website and pick up your new SOR wear at the SOR Vault today.
Hey everybody, the SOR Space Travelers is open. For just $5 a month, you can hang out with Dave and our crew privately in our members-only section. With your signing, you'll receive newsletters on what's going on with Spaced Out Radio. You'll have direct contact with the host during the show in our chat, live streaming videos, and a great forum for your posts and more. Become a space traveler now at spacedoutradio.com.
Cold drinks, great food, and the best music in Vancouver. The Moose Vancouver is the place to be, open until 2 a.m. nightly. Everything on the menu starts at just $6.95. Who serves food that cheap anymore? At the Moose, you'll never know who you'll run into. Rock stars, actors, athletes. It's the place everyone wants to be. So join us at the Moose Vancouver, the official party bar of Spaced Out Radio.
At spacedoutradio.com, we are keeping you up to date on all the news with the SOR Newswire. Captain Shirk leads the team that is bringing you the news of the day and exclusive stories on everything paranormal and supernatural. It's free to read, it's updated daily, and it's right there for you. The SOR Newswire is a one-stop shop for the news of the day. Check it out at spacedoutradio.com today.
We pass the halfway point of Spaced Out Radio tonight. I am your host, Dave Scott, sitting in the captain's chair of SOR headquarters. I appreciate each and every one of you joining us tonight, wherever you may be. Want to say that if you want to check out our free archives, you can do so at youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Just do old Davey the favor, hit that subscribe button. Our website is spacedoutradio.com, where we have a plethora of features for you, including reading up on Captain Shirk's SOR Newswire and rocking out to Bumblefoot and so much more. Don't forget, you can follow us on Twitter, the show at Spaced Out Radio, and my personal handle at Dave Scott SOR. I'd greatly appreciate it. We are talking with author, podcaster, Justin Cancilliere tonight. We're having a great show. We're going to get into a little bit of Dogman. For people, Justin, who do not know what Dogman is, because we have a bunch of new listeners. We just added a couple of radio stations recently in Saga 960 AM in Mississauga, Ontario, and in Bellingham, Washington, KZAX 94.9. I'm curious, for people who don't know, explain what the Dogman is.
Well, Dogman is this bipedal dog-like creature that a lot of people have seen, more specifically, like very commonly in the past few years. The Beast of Bray Road is supposedly a Dogman. Linda Godfrey wrote a huge book on that, and I've had the privilege to talk to her about that as well. And the interesting thing about that is something that I kind of thought about, I had talked about before the break, is it possibly being an offshoot of Bigfoot. But something else that had occurred to me reading her book is not a lot of people realize that there was a very large wolf back in the day called a dire wolf. And I had asked her, is there a possibility this creature is some type of offshoot of the dire wolf, like we believe Bigfoot is possibly an offshoot of Gigantopithecus. And she's like, well, I guess that would be possible, but with Dogman being bipedal, the evolution would have to have been there quite drastically, not to mention that the dire wolves were a little bit larger in the chest in comparison to Dogman, because the Dogman does have more muscular legs, that it can be bipedal or quadrupedal, depending on if it's going into a full sprint or whatnot. But it's actually fascinated me since hearing about Dogman, because it has become way more common than in the past.
Mm-hmm. So with this creature, I mean, then it breaks up into two parts, because you have the creature that was seen in Wisconsin, like the Beast of Bray Road, like you just mentioned. All right. Then you apparently have this bigger creature that people like Butch Witkowski and Lon Strickler and Eric Altman have been checking out in Pennsylvania, called what they call a bipedal canine, which is said to be 8-9 feet tall and huge and aggressive and angry, and just it's like your typical house cat, just angry at everything in a dog-like form. I mean, are we seeing different runs of this creature as well?
That's probably a good possibility. Like we talked about with the Bigfoot, maybe it's not a different species, but just adapting to its environment. Pennsylvania is a much more congested area for humans in comparison to Wisconsin, where it's a little more spread out. Same thing with me here in North Dakota. We're hugely spread out. So if there is a Bigfoot or Dogman here in the Dakotas area, it probably wouldn't be as aggressive, because it's not going to come into contact with humans as often.
The people who see this, much like we talked about Bigfoot, many of them who see this, who have raised a rifle to this animal, creature, whatever we want to call it, monster, all right, they said they have actually had these telepathic messages as well that have basically said to them, yeah, you might not want to do that because it's going to turn out really bad. You just need to go away. And I'm paraphrasing here as to what multiple people have said to researchers. So, of course, we're talking third-hand information here. Have you heard those stories as well about this creature being telepathic, telling people to leave the area?
I have, actually, yeah. And it's kind of interesting that if these creatures have that type of ability, that they would send that message out before even attacking someone. Because, I mean, like we just mentioned, there are some that are super aggressive out there. And if you think about actual wolves or wild animals, they usually don't intimidate if they're going to attack. If you look at a bear, for example, they do. They stand up on their legs and give you a warning that they're getting a little agitated. But some animals that are in that super attack mode don't even warn you. So there's obviously an intelligence there. Not to mention the telepathic communication.
Who wins in a fight, Dogman or Sasquatch?
Oh, I feel I'd have to put my money on Dogman.
Oh, yeah. I'm going with Bigfoot. I'm going with Bigfoot the entire way. I think Bigfoot. Okay, Dogman reminds me of that heel wrestler who would have like a foreign object in his trunks and hit somebody with it. But I think Bigfoot can overcome that. I think he wins it by submission of the camel clutch. Taking a page from the Iron Sheik back in the 80s. That's how I think he wins.
I could see it, yeah.
All right, so with the Dogman, and this creature has taken for a lot of people a lot of interest going back to Egyptian times with, the admiration and love for the god Anubis. Do you think there is any correlation between the two?
Yeah, I think it's a good possibility. Looking back through a lot of the different societies that have been around over the many centuries that humans have been around, we've found fascination in things that we can't explain. And I think that the comparison to Dogman to Anubis is actually a very good possibility that we were seeing these creatures even back then. But back then we were prescribing more of a supernatural, godlike thing to them in comparison to now, where we are trying to be more scientific with it. And actually, that's a funny thing that we bring up Anubis, because my book, The Griffin, is actually going to be a trilogy, and the last creature in that trilogy is going to be Anubis.
Do you think it has mystical powers?
Well, with it supposedly having that telepathic factor, it's possible. Same thing like I was talking with Bigfoot. I guess, if you talk about the telepathy part of it, it's possible that there is kind of both a supernatural and scientific aspect to the creatures.
Okay, so explain that a little bit for our audience, if you don't mind.
Well, I mean, there are going to be scientists who say that telepathy is 100% real, and those that say it isn't. That telepathy is more of a parapsychological phenomenon, and anything usually that falls into parapsychology is in that, as you said, woo-woo factor. So I think that if you believe that the stories are true about the telepathy communication between Bigfoot and Dogman to humans, there has to be some type of supernatural aspect to the creatures, whether it's, for example, Bigfoot can travel in and out of our reality, and that's why we don't see these creatures all the time, They're talking to us telepathically. I do believe that a lot of the indigenous and native cultures here in North America believe that these creatures, the Bigfoot in particular, did have some type of healing abilities. And so if you think of the Bigfoot in that way, Dogman has to be in that kind of that same realm, because we do hear about the telepathic experiences. What other abilities they may or may not have, I don't know. But again, Dogman is one of those ones where you're not seeing them as often in comparison to, like we talked about with the Bigfoot, where these people that have been in the woods their entire lives have never seen anything but, Joe Schmo that just went camping got a glimpse of it.
Bigfoot is known to run, allegedly, in packs. So, there are people who believe in their research that they hang out in threes to almost protect their family or the areas that they are in. I've experienced this once personally just a couple of years ago with my buddy Merle from Haunted Crew of Canada and one of my good friends up here, Mark. And it was very, very eerie being in the forest that day, watching this happen around us. Yet with Dogman, we always tend to see or hear of this being almost like a lone wolf, pardon the pun, or a solitary type creature. Do we know if there have been any multiple sightings of two or more of these creatures at once?
I haven't not heard a story where it's a pack in comparison to singular. Every time that I've talked to somebody about it, it's always been that lone wolf type mentality of just one. And I don't know if it's just because the others in the pack stay back because they've got the alpha there, or it truly is just that one that is out there. Maybe it breaks off from the family to do whatever it needs to do to get food or protect the perimeter, whatever the case may be.
I'm wondering though why the difference. I really don't know.
Yeah, because if you look at the wolf in particular, the animal wolf is a pack creature. There are those that will break off from the pack, and usually that's the alpha who's trying to protect the pack, and they stay much further ahead than the rest of them just to keep the perimeter. Maybe that is what's going on, and we don't see the rest of the pack because they're staying back to be protected. And that, in my mind, is a good possibility.
I guess that does make sense. It does make sense. And, with that, do you think maybe that's the reason why this creature is more aggressive, is because it is more territorial?
Absolutely, yeah. And most descriptions that I've heard describe the Dogman of more like a wolfish type look to it. There are those that have said that there are other species of Dogman where it's got the floppy ears more kind of like a beagle or a Rottweiler or something like that. But usually the description that I've heard is more of a wolf, like, elongated snout, pointy ears. So to me, any creature that has an alpha, usually the alpha is more aggressive because they are being territorial and protective of the pack.
We don't hear a lot of stories about Dogman in the West. or up north here, but we do hear that they are kind of starting to come on in. Do you think this creature is starting to expand its territory from what was literally known as a central United States, northern central United States type creature?
I would think that would probably be the next evolutionary step for them, because when we think of Bigfoot, a lot of people believe that they're nomadic creatures in nature. So I would think that the Dogman probably has that same particular mentality.
Do you think it also fears people?
I don't know that saying it fears us is a good word for it. I think it's cautious. So I guess you could say there's some type of fear when you're being cautious, but I honestly think with it being territorial the way that we're describing it, and being protective the way that we're describing it, it's more so that it's just a instinctual thing to be protective over fear. And maybe they're just smart enough to understand that humans are very unpredictable when we come to the woods, because we have people that are carrying firearms, we have people that are carrying crossbows or bows and arrows, and I mean we're more dangerous than these creatures are, any creatures, truthfully.
I want to ask you, though, in regards to the Dogman species and where it's being seen and how we are kind of picturing it, why do you think that there is so fewer Dogman encounters than we are hearing of Bigfoot?
That's a really good question, and that's something that I've kind of wondered what's really going on, because like I've been saying, we over the just the past couple of years, we've had way more sightings and interest in the Dogman than we have in the past. I honestly don't know. I don't know if it's something, like I said, where maybe it's an offshoot of another creature, and that's why we're just now kind of seeing it more, or if it's been one of those things where, kind of like the Bigfoot, where they live in seclusion, and with humans expanding the way that we are, we're just seeing them more because we're pushing into their territories.
Makes sense. We got about 4 minutes to go before we go to break at the top of the hour. Justin Cancilliere is our guest tonight. Do you think when it comes to these creatures, either Dogman, Bigfoot, really doesn't matter, that, well, let me phrase it this way. What do you think the reason is that we haven't been able to scientifically find a body or kill one of these creatures in order to study it?
Something that I forget who I was talking to, but somebody had brought up that nature can literally get rid of the evidence of a body in a matter of a couple days. So if a creature died out in the wilderness and we didn't come by it in the time that it took for it to completely break down and decompose, with these creatures possibly living in the deep woods, or maybe they do live in caves, and that's why we don't see them, the dead. But I have heard from some people too, like Bigfoot, for example, that there is an intelligence there, so that maybe they bury their dead or take it back to wherever they live. there's a good possibility that maybe they devour their dead. I don't believe that, but that's a possibility.
Well, they have to put them somewhere. It's not, for most of us, I think, as much as I think there is some sort of supernatural type abilities with these creatures, I'm not fully convinced on the woo factor 100%. And I know that may disappoint our Twitter crowd, but I do believe there is something natural about these creatures too. Could we be seeing an entire different breed of science that we're not understanding in order to track these down?
Yeah, I mean, that's a good possibility. Just like I was talking about with religion, I don't think we truly understand any of it enough to say truly what is going on with these creatures.
I don't know. I mean, the mystery is still there. In Justin's world, what do we got to do to solve this problem?
I mean, truthfully, more people have to get back to nature. I mean, we would truly see more of the creatures in the world if we got away from the technology that we've come to so accustomed to, that people don't get out anymore. They go to bars, they go to restaurants, they go home, and then it's either watching TV and I'm as guilty of it as anybody, but we do not have that connection to nature that we once did.
Makes sense. Yeah, I think there's not many more truthful words than that, and we got to be spending a little bit more time out in the forest or looking up in the stars to see if we can see anything anomalous and weird, because that's where the answers are. They truly are. And I sure as heck know if I find a nice fresh path, I am following it, man. I am following it.
Yeah, over the past couple years, since I met my wife, I was never that guy that wanted to go camping or be out in the outside world. I was very much even more introvert than I am now. But since I met my wife and she loved to go out camping, it's definitely opened my eyes to realizing I do like camping. I do like going out in nature. So it's
Justin, I'm going to get you to hold on right there because we are going to go to break here at the top of the hour. Justin Cancilliere is our guest tonight, talking all things cryptid. We'll get into the Griffin next on Spaced Out Radio, along with your questions. Stay tuned.
The party is always on at the Moose Vancouver. The Moose Vancouver is where you want to be when visiting Canada's West Coast. Open until 2 a.m. nightly, the Moose cranks up the rock while serving some of the best rated food in the city. The menu starts at $6.95. Why party anywhere else in Vancouver when the Moose is right there? Get your horns up and rock with the Moose, the official party bar of Spaced Out Radio.
We're adding to the entertainment online for Spaced Out Radio. I'm Amber Beckrud, and I want to invite you to subscribe to our YouTube channel and check out Cryptid Tales, where I will take you on a journey into some of the strangest legends and lore from around the world, relaying the stories to you of the strange creatures and experiences that people have had throughout time. You can find Cryptid Tales at youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. And while you're there, don't forget to check out our free archives and leave a comment. See you there.
Hello everyone, this is Ryan Stacy from the Experiencer Support Association, otherwise known as TESSA. We're glad to team up with Spaced Out Radio to help investigate your experiences on the SOR Sightlines Report. Together, we'll investigate the strange sightings and occurrences you've had. We're looking for answers just like you. So fill out a Sightlines Report on the Spaced Out Radio website and let's figure out what's going on together.
We all know on Spaced Out Radio we love a good beard and mustache. so why not take care of your facial hair with Mighty Moose Beard Oil? Made in Canada, we're taking care of beards and stashes around the world. We use 100% natural ingredients with our oils and balms to make your whiskers feel silky smooth. Use promo code SOR2019 at mightymoosebeard.com today.
Hey everyone, I'm John Edwards.
And I'm Stacey Edwards. Together we're taking over Saturday nights on Spaced Out Radio, where we're going to bring our own experiences of the paranormal and talk to the best people we can find to help bring you answers to your strange tales.
We're here to entertain your need for weekend woo! So tune us in at spacedoutradio.com starting at 9:06 Pacific, 12:06 a.m. Eastern, where we can all get a little spooky together.
Spaced Out Saturday nights right here at spacedoutradio.com.
For the price of 1 cup of coffee a month, you can become an SOR Space Traveler. The Space Travelers Club is a place where you can interact with other listeners, either live during the show or on our great forum. We want your stories, pictures, comments, and ideas. You'll get live video streams, exclusive content, and be a part of our newsletter. Stay in touch with everything SOR. The Space Travelers Club is just $5 a month at spacedoutradio.com.
We are scouring the world for the most intriguing stories of your day. Take the time to read up on the SOR Newswire, where our team, led by Captain Shirk, will deliver to you some of the best paranormal and supernatural news, along with some stories that will blow your mind from the weird to the wacky. It's the news outside the news that piques interest, and that's what we're looking to deliver to you. The SOR Newswire, only at spacedoutradio.com.
Hello, Space Travelers. It's me again, Carl. Don't forget to join the Space Travelers Club for just $5 a month and follow Spaced Out Radio on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio. Our Instagram, Dave Scott SOR. Our Facebook page is Spaced Out Radio Show. Our archives are free at youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Come woo it up with Spaced Out Radio today. Bye!
Hi there, this is the paranormal lawyer Michael W. Hall. I'd like to invite you to listen in each Sunday night where we're going to open up your eyes to everything strange and paranormal. I will be hosting some great guests with topics that affect us all, such as UFOs, ghosts, and everything paranormal. Let's learn together on Spaced Out Radio Sunday with myself, Michael W. Hall, the paranormal lawyer at spacedoutradio.com.
The SOR Vault is open for business, and do we have some cool swag for you to pick up? All you have to do is head over to our website and click on the SOR Vault. You have a variety of cool logos to choose from, and put them on anything you want. T-shirts, hoodies, hats, coffee mugs, you name it, we can get it to you. So do your shopping by supporting the store you love. Get your Spaced Out Radio swag at the SOR Vault today.
Hey, Space Travelers, this is John Resig, founder of the Chive and Chive Charities. If you know anything about our website, you know we like to do things a little differently. We're not some faceless organization collecting money for a nebulous cause. Our donor dollars go directly toward life-improving items. Then we give those items directly to an underdog who needs it most. To become a donor with Spaced Out Radio's official charity, Chive Charities, just go to chivecharities.org/donate.
So, you love talk radio? Then you'll love TalkStreamLive.com. TalkStream Live is always on, 24/7, with the best streaming talk shows. Find your favorite talkers and discover some new ones. It's free, readily available online or on mobile with any smartphone or tablet. Finding your favorite talk shows all in one place has gotten a whole lot easier. Just go to TalkStreamLive.com. Be sure to download the free apps from Google Play or the iTunes App Store.
Hello, this is your guitar man, Ron Bumblefoot Thal, and I have to tell you, I love the response I get for Little Brother is Watching from Spaced Out Radio fans. It's amazing how music can inspire and make people think deeper about what's going on in the supernatural world. You can head over to my website, bumblefoot.com, to check out my music, my guitar workshops, my touring, even check out some of the hot sauces that I'm working on. And make sure you keep on listening, because with Spaced Out Radio, you know Little Brother is watching.
Looking for creative ways to get your company out in the public? How about advertising on Spaced Out Radio? Our sales department is waiting to hear from you, and we can work around any budget. From commercial spots to banners to special promotions, there are many opportunities to get your name and product out to our SOR listeners. For a price guide and more information, please contact us at sales@spacedoutradio.com.
I'm feeling a little spicy tonight. What to do? What to do?
Why not get bumblefuck?
4 million Scoville units of pure hard rock. Bumblefoot hot sauces come in 3 flavors. The burning bumble. Tone it down a bit with Bumblicious and throw the sauce on everything.
Spice it up. Bumble me, baby. Bumblefoot hot sauce. Get it today at cascades.com.
Would you like to connect with us? Head to spacedoutradio.com for all your latest show info. Now, back to Dave Scott and SOR.
Third and final hour of Spaced Out Radio is underway tonight. I am your host, Dave Scott. Thank you so much for joining on in. I want to say I appreciate each and every one of you listening on in, especially if you're on our terrestrial affiliates across the country and, well, that's across the continent, I should say, across the United States and Canada. On the digital side, we're proud to broadcast on the 24-hour stream on TalkStream Live and on Revolution Radio. Remember, you can check out all of our archives for free at youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Just do me the favor, hit that subscribe button. The Desert Clam has set the password for tonight in the SOR Space Travelers Club. Ebriection. Ebriection is your password. Use it wisely, Space Travelers, as the Clam sets a password each and every night right here on Spaced Out Radio. Our website is spacedoutradio.com, where we have a plethora of features for you, including Rocking Out to Bumblefoot, reading up on Captain Shirk's SOR Newswire, and much more. And on Twitter, don't forget you can follow the show at Spaced Out Radio, along with my personal handle at Dave Scott SOR. Give us a follow there. We'd appreciate that. For the final time tonight, author, podcaster, paranormal enthusiast Justin Cancilliere is our guest tonight, and we've been talking all things UFO, Dogman, Bigfoot. I gotta love it. What do you think else is out there, Justin? Like, you wrote a book about Griffin, and you know, I realize your book is more fictional than anything, but when you hear of griffins or you hear of the giant large thunderbirds that are flying around or pterodactyls, do you think that any of these creatures are truly hanging out, or are people just way overabundance in imagination?
I'll say I want to believe. Are these creatures really out there? Sure, it's a good possibility that the pterosaurs of prehistoric times possibly somehow survived. Same thing goes for like Nessie, for example. A lot of people believe that it's a plesiosaur that somehow survived, or a family of plesiosaurs, because I don't know that we would still be seeing it in this time, that if there wasn't a family of them or it wasn't reproducing somehow. But yeah, I think it's possible. I just don't know for sure. Like, again, I've never had the experiences, but I do believe people have seen something. What they're seeing, is it a misidentification and they're just getting frightened and putting a label on something? Maybe. But one creature that I've always been hugely into is dragons. That's been my favorite mythical creature of all time. And again, it's one of those ones where I want to believe that these creatures were at maybe one time real, but we don't have that evidence to say that they were. Is it more possible that a knight walked into a cave and saw a fossilized dinosaur and made up this story of how he fought off the beast? That's probably a better possibility, but I truly want to believe that these creatures either one time existed or do exist now.
The possibilities with all of the technology that is out there, is very, very difficult to even comprehend, that there is something still hanging out in our forests, in our mountains, in our oceans. I mean, that is very, very tough to comprehend with all the technology we have out there. I mean, shouldn't we be further ahead in the research of trying to prove or disprove a lot of these conspiracy theories around these creatures?
You would think so. Like I talked about earlier, we now have these supercomputers in the palm of our hands. You would think that we would be way closer to either having some type of understanding or having 100% irrefutable proof that these creatures do exist.
So with that, why do you think we're failing at it?
Like I talked about just before the break, we've come too super indulgent into our technology now. I don't think that too many people raise their nose from their cell phones as much as in the past, and we've kind of gotten away from looking up at the stars or being in nature, and that's been our biggest downfall. I think we're paying too much attention to who's on the latest TMZ post or who is the next hot model, and we're not paying attention to these other things that we have in the past. And I think it's kind of gone to the wayside a little bit, on top of just getting that evidence, even paying attention to any of the news posts that would have anything like that in them.
Do you think that we are missing, how can I put this? Is it a lack of proper research in the field that is causing us to miss this?
Yeah, I think so. I'm not sure how much in depth people are going. The true researchers are going as deep as they can. As far as what we need to do to increase that knowledge and increase that research, I'm not really sure. Maybe people are just not asking the right questions.
Okay, so what questions need to be asked?
I honestly think that people are losing sight of what they really want. These creatures have been documented and researched for years, and I think that we're kind of losing what it is we're trying to really do in this field. People just want to talk. There are a lot of podcasts out there now that they're just there to talk. They're not doing any other research other than talk to people. And that is research in and of itself. But there are those people that aren't delving deeper into the subjects that they're getting people on to talk about. So they just let it be that way. I think that people need to really open their minds a little bit as to what is going on. I think we've come a little more closed-minded in that respect because we are not delving as deep as we should.
Question about Bigfoot coming from Greco here, and he is asking, is Bigfoot using some sort of technology, or does this creature have natural abilities we just don't understand yet, in your opinion?
I think it's more so natural ability. To place a technology on it would give it an intelligence. Not that these creatures aren't intelligent, but I think that we would kind of be labeling it more of an extraterrestrial if we were saying there's technology there. I'm not saying it's not possible, but I truly believe it's a natural effect.
All right. Now, getting back to the other creatures, I had another question about leprechauns. Do you believe in like leprechauns, gnomes, fairy folk?
I do believe that there are entities out there that like that. Yeah. Those are, to me, land more so on the supernatural side, because any type of legends that you hear about these beings, they have, I guess, what you would call magical properties in comparison to today, where we would call it more supernatural. But yeah, I do believe that fairies and leprechauns do exist. What they are, or what their intentions are, that I'm not really sure. But
now, do you believe that they are strewn across the world, or just in certain areas? Like, for instance, there are parks in Ireland, I believe, that you cannot go in because the leprechauns kind of have that territory. In Iceland, they build their highways and their roads pending on investigation whether or not those are areas where the fairy folk live. I mean, there's a lot of seriousness that goes into this topic for certain cultures and certain areas.
I think humans try to put too much importance on things like that. I believe that spiritual creatures don't really care about land or territory, seeing as they exist in and out of our existence, in my opinion. I think that's good, though. I think that humans should have that awareness of their environment. But I think, these creatures are strewn throughout the world, even traveling to different areas of the world. They don't populate in just one area.
Well, in North America, many First Nations cultures believe that, they can be troubled at times by what they call the little people. And these are folklorish little people that have their own communities and up in the mountains. And there are areas where First Nations people just will not travel. And, because they fear the little people so much. When we hear stories like that and legends like that, for many of us who come up or have been brought up in more of a scientific-based idealism, it's very difficult to comprehend and understand whether or not something like that is true. How do we go about, combining the legend with the science to see if there is anything in between that we're missing?
I honestly think that the only way that we could truly do that is to break through interdimensional space. Because if these things are what we signify as spiritual in nature, they're living on another plane or existing between planes. We would have to come up with some type of technology. And there are scientists who are pushing that we are somehow coming up on a technology to look into alternate dimensions. I honestly think that pushing that particular technology would be the way for us to tell what these creatures are and what they want and how to communicate with them.
Do you think that they want to communicate with us? I mean, let's face it, we don't do a lot to make ourselves look favorable to any type of animal species.
Right. When it comes to these ones that we've placed an intelligence on, I think that they do want to communicate with us. I think that more so than like we were talking about with the dogman, I think these spiritual beings are smart enough to fear humanity, where if it's the Bigfoot or the dogman, it's more instinctual and territorial in nature.
What about the chupacabra? I mean, down in Texas and Mexico, I mean, they look at this thing as if it is some sort of freaky, hideous creature, where many people believe that it is just a rabid dog with a bad case of mange.
That one is kind of hard because I had talked to Ben Radford. He had done a book on the chupacabra on Paratruth, and he had kind of made a good case that the chupacabra is kind of a made-up creature, or what we know of it being a made-up creature, because the lady that kind of started this whole craze with the chupacabra had just seen the movie Species and then come out, seen something she didn't know what it was, and placed the characteristics of the Species monster, or alien, if you will, onto this creature that she didn't know what it was. So a lot of the sightings that we see now, I honestly think that it's more so a diseased animal over this goat sucker, because the original description of the chupacabra that this woman had come up with was more kind of a extraterrestrial look to it. It was bipedal. It had scales over just like skin or no fur, and elongated fingernails, very long, sharp teeth, and almost kind of like a what you would think of as a gray type head with large eyes, very bulbous head, and then this, I believe there was a description of spines going down its head and back. So I don't think that the chupacabra is what we are describing it. I think it's people putting that label on things that they're seeing, and they can't understand that it's just a diseased animal.
Yeah, I think, and in that regard, I could see that one being correct. To me, that seems like the most logical answer towards it. And I'm just not sure if, we just want to believe in these supernatural type beings or what have you. But I mean, there are some strange things going on. I mean, if you take for instance, if you look and you go down the really weird, strange road of these animal mutilations that are allegedly going on, where creatures are having their everything from their stomachs to their intestines and tongues that are being what looks like surgically removed by lasers, and people are pointing to this and saying there's no way a knife could cut that cleanly. And there's some very respected people who have looked into this. And then you look into the idea that, there is so much weird, strange going on out there. I mean, at some point, something has to give for the community and prove something is actually happening out there, does it not?
I would think that we have to somehow kind of merge what we understand of science and of the paranormal, and I think that that's where we are headed, but I don't know what it's going to take for us to actually get there. I think that there are a lot of these scientific labs out there that are doing hidden experiments that we don't know about as well. That's how we advance our technology with weapons, as well as trying to figure out how to protect ourselves against viruses. And we experiment on animals. I mean, to me, I feel that that's a sick way to do it, but we do. And what happens to those animals after we've been experimenting on them, it could be an explanation as to what a lot of these creatures we see or are seeing.
It could be, as we have about 2.5 minutes left with you tonight. It could be, Justin, but I mean, people though, are still having those experiences. I mean, take Mothman. We all thought Mothman ended with, in Point Pleasant when the Silver Bridge collapsed. Now, allegedly, we're hearing sightings in Chicago, Indiana, all around Illinois. And we can't seem to figure out what it is or what is actually happening.
Right. Yeah. And again, that kind of boils down to the intelligence factor on these creatures too. Like, was Mothman some type of extraterrestrial? Is, I should say, is, not was. And they're coming back around because a lot of people believe that the Mothman in Point Pleasant was a warning. Maybe they're coming back now because they're trying to warn us of something else.
Oh, that's interesting. Do you think that a lot of these are omens that we are seeing?
With the Mothman in particular, it's possible, especially with the fact that in Point Pleasant, it was concentrated on that bridge, and a lot of people believe it was warning that bridge was going to collapse. And today we're seeing them kind of spread out a little bit here and there. But yeah, I think that something big might be coming. Only time will tell, I suppose.
With 1 minute left, do me a favor, Justin. Tell everybody where they can find your podcast, where they can find your book, and reach out to you.
Yep. You can go to my website, justincancilliere.com. You can also reach me on newlanternmedia.com. That's the media company that I came up with to house a couple of podcasts that I've got going on. And you can just reach out to me on those websites, or I am on all social medias.
That's awesome, man. That's awesome. You do a pretty good job with that. You really do. And keep up your hard work and what you're doing, and and make sure that you let us know when you got that third phase of the Griffin out, because that's going to be very interesting indeed, man. Very interesting indeed.
Absolutely.
All right, Justin Cancilliere, everybody, on Spaced Out Radio. What a great night, man. What a great night we have had here, and guess what? It continues. Oh, yes, it does. It totally continues, because coming up next in the final half hour of the program, we have the SOR Newswire and the Thought of the Dave. So stay tuned. More Spaced Out Radio coming up.
Need that weekend supernatural fix? Look no further than Spaced Out Saturday right here at spacedoutradio.com. I'm Stacey Edwards.
And I'm John Edwards. Each Saturday night, Stacey and I are going to bring you the best in paranormal, cryptids, UFOs, you name it, and we're going there.
It's all about the experience and to share the knowledge with all of you.
So tune us in every Saturday night on Spaced Out Saturdays, starting at 9:06 p.m. Pacific, 12:06 a.m. Eastern, only at spacedoutradio.com.
We're adding to the entertainment online for Spaced Out Radio. I'm Amber Beckard, and I want to invite you to subscribe to our YouTube channel and check out Cryptid Tales, where I will take you on a journey into some of the strangest legends and lore from around the world, relaying the stories to you of the strange creatures and experiences that people have had throughout time. You can find Cryptid Tales at youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. And while you're there, don't forget to check out our free archives and leave a comment. See you there.
Hello, this is your guitar man, Ron Bumblefoot Thal, and I have to tell you, I love the response I get for Little Brother is Watching from Spaced Out Radio fans. It's amazing how music can inspire and make people think deeper about what's going on in the supernatural world. You can head over to my website, bumblefoot.com, to check out my music, my guitar workshops, my touring, even check out some of the hot sauces that I'm working on. And make sure you keep on listening, because with Spaced Out Radio, you know Little Brother is watching.
Hi there, this is the paranormal lawyer Michael W. Hall. I'd like to invite you to listen in each Sunday night where we're going to open up your eyes to everything strange and paranormal. I will be hosting some great guests with topics that affect us all, such as UFOs, ghosts, and everything paranormal. Let's learn together on Spaced Out Radio Sunday with myself, Michael W. Hall, the paranormal lawyer at spacedoutradio.com.
You wanted new SOR gear, and now you can have it. The SOR Vault is fully stocked with t-shirts, hats, hoodies, mugs, and everything in between with great logos for you to choose from. So head on over to spacedoutradio.com, click on the SOR Vault, and go shopping. Pricing is quite affordable, and you can look good representing your favorite show. So go to our website and pick up your new SOR wear at the SOR Vault today.
Hey everybody, the SOR Space Travelers is open. For just $5 a month, you can hang out with Dave and our crew privately in our members-only section. With your signing, you'll receive newsletters on what's going on with Spaced Out Radio. You'll have direct contact with the host during the show in our chat, live streaming videos, and a great forum for your posts and more. Become a space traveler now at spacedoutradio.com.
At spacedoutradio.com, we are keeping you up to date on all the news with the SOR Newswire. Captain Shirk leads the team that is bringing you the news of the day and exclusive stories on everything paranormal and supernatural. It's free to read, it's updated daily, and it's right there for you. The SOR Newswire is a one-stop shop for the news of the day. Check it out at spacedoutradio.com today.
Are you looking for great advertising value for your company? Look no further than Spaced Out Radio. We have a multitude of places to get your name out there, including commercial ads during the show, special promotions, and banners on our website. Our audience is proven to support the companies that support our show. We can make your budget work for you. So for more information, please contact us at sales@spacedoutradio.com.
Hey, Spaced Out Radio fans! It's John Resig, founder of the Chive and Chive Charities. Our goal is to make the life of veterans, first responders, and those with rare medical conditions 10% happier. We do this by donating one grant item, ranging from dance to therapy programs to prosthetic limbs, to those who need it most. To contribute to Spaced Out Radio's official charity, head over to chivecharities.org and become a donor today.
Cold drinks, great food, and the best music in Vancouver. The Moose Vancouver is the place to be, open until 2 a.m. nightly. Everything on the menu starts at just $6.95. Who serves food that cheap anymore? At the Moose, you'll never know who you'll run into. Rock stars, actors, athletes. It's the place everyone wants to be. So join us at the Moose Vancouver, the official party bar of Spaced Out Radio.
Hello, Space Travelers. It's me again, Carl. Don't forget to join the Space Travelers Club for just $5 a month and follow Spaced Out Radio on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio. Our Instagram, Dave Scott SOR. Our Facebook page is Spaced Out Radio Show. Our archives are free at youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Come woo it up with Spaced Out Radio today. Bye!
We all know on Spaced Out Radio we love a good beard and mustache, so why not take care of your facial hair with Mighty Moose Beard Oil? Made in Canada, we're taking care of beards and stashes around the world. We use 100% natural ingredients with our oils and balms to make your whiskers feel silky smooth. Use promo code SOR2019 at mightymoosebeard.com today.
If you like it hot, real hot, then heat up your meals with Bumblefoot hot sauce.
Get your Bumblefoot hot sauce today. The sauce, Bumblicious, and the 4 million Scoville unit Bumble. We're going in hot, real hot, coming out even hotter.
Keep the milk nearby and tantalize your taste buds tonight.
Bumblefoot hot sauce, available now at kajans.com.
We've rounded third. We're heading for home tonight on Spaced Out Radio. I am your host, Dave Scott, sitting in the captain's chair of SOR headquarters. So happy to have each and every one of you here with us tonight. We want to remind you that if you missed most of this show or others, you can check out our free archives at youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Just do me the favor, hit that subscribe button. Our website is spacedoutradio.com, where we have a plethora of features for you, including Rocking Out to Bumblefoot, and don't forget to read up on Captain Shirk's SOR Newswire and so much more. Speaking of the news, let's get to it, shall we? The news is always changing, which is why we bring you the SOR Newswire at the back end of every show, where we get into the weird, the strange, the WTF. And it can all be found on our website, spacedoutradio.com. All right, frickin' laser beams. Let's get to it right off the bat. There is no disputing that the Earth has a problem with space junk, whether it's approximately 3,000 dead satellites orbiting the planet or the thousands of smaller pieces, each of which could cause catastrophic damage to any space asset that it comes in contact with. Several potential solutions have been put forward recently for this problem, such as an existing sophisticated Earth-based monitoring system that makes it easier to avoid the objects in question. An intriguing approach being explored by a U.S. tech company, Centauri Photonic Associates, and other interested parties offers alternative answers. And if it works out as planned, it could turn out to be an absolutely essential component for future space missions. The idea is for a just-in-time collision avoidance system that would help shift oncoming objects out of the way of oncoming rockets and other space objects before they can cause a catastrophic collision. This could be achieved in several different ways. One would be for the rockets to carry small capsules of material like talcum powder that, despite their not exactly fearsome reputation here on Earth, could create a cloud of particles in space to change the trajectory of incoming objects. Releasing a cloud of such particles in front of one of the pieces of debris could create an associated drag, which, though small, would be enough to lower the probability of an announced collision. Another option the researchers are putting forward is the involvement of a higher power orbiting pulsed laser, frickin' laser beams, that's able to move objects out of the way by changing their speed slightly. Shifting an object just a few tenths of a micrometer per second could be enough to change its course with several days advance warning. It doesn't take much energy to nudge something tens of micrometers per second, Claude Phipps, managing partner of Photonic Associates, says. You watch what you are doing so you can correct any wrong motions immediately with the next pulse. We would love to test this concept, possibly beginning with derelict French rocket bodies. Testing real debris targets is important because of their complex shapes. How about we just send like a couple of, those big buckets that you can get and put in your driveway when you're like redoing your roof or redoing the inside of your house? And get like a big dump truck to pick it on up and carry it down. I don't know. Too human? I think so. We need some sort of space junk company. What about 1-800-GOT-JUNK? Why aren't they coming up with something? This could be very, very lucrative for them, especially with their big bins. A woman walked into an airport without any clothes on and refused to leave after airline officials told her she couldn't travel. Yeah, this happened in Louisiana, not Florida. Marielle Vergara of Pueblo, Colorado, was naked when she approached the Spirit Airlines ticket counter at Louis Armstrong International Airport. Yeah, a Jefferson Parish deputy was called, and Vergara, who's just 27 years old, had to put on a dress by the time he had arrived, but she was still blocked from traveling because she wasn't wearing underwear, and her dress didn't fully cover her privates. Reports say that. Oh, poor girl. Lots of air conditioning. Vergara ignored the orders to leave and scuffled with deputies before being arrested on charges including obscenity. and battery of a police officer. Additional charges were filed later this week, including battery of a correctional officer, according to reports. It's unclear whether Vergara had an attorney who would comment on her behalf. What do you think drugs are involved there? What kind of drugs? Because that's just not stupidity. Speaking of nudists, face masks aren't mandatory everywhere, but strict rules on wearing them have become enforced in the Czech Republic, even for nudists. You got to be kidding me. So here's the ley line of the picture. You got this couple, they're sitting by a lake, they're kind of off a trail a little bit, maybe 10, 15 feet. They're lounging around on a towel and a lawn chair, all naked, enjoying the sun, and the police approach and say, yeah, we got to ticket you because you're not wearing a face mask. Think about that. This is where we are in this world right now. The European country has begun to relax restrictions imposed because of the coronavirus, but at the height of concerns late last month, police were called in to remind people while it was okay to get naked in designated public places, mouths needed to be covered. Czech law enforcers issued a warning after officers were called out on March 27th in a small town of Lozne Bodanich, east of Prague, because of complaints about maskless naturists basking in the warm weather. I didn't think it would be that warm in the Czech Republic at this time of year. Unfortunately, many of the sunbathing citizens were gathering in large groups, and some were not wearing face masks, a police statement said. Upon the arrival of the police, everyone agreed to respect the government regulation that face shields are compulsory outside of home. Citizens are allowed to be without clothes in designated locations, but they still must cover their mouths and only gather in appropriate numbers. The message seems to have been heeded, though. That's good. The statement said in a subsequent police patrol found that 150 people they encountered, only half needed reminding about the masks. We understand that many do not have a garden and want to get some fresh air in the countryside, but we all have one common desire to respect the government's guidelines so that the restrictions can be gradually lifted. The statement said that, however, will not happen until everyone starts to dutifully respect the rules. Get naked, but make sure your mouth is covered in the Czech Republic. Here's an interesting one. A new trend has been started on TikTok, which sees users predicting their future via Netflix, and some people are not happy with their fortune. It seems coronavirus lockdown boredom has taken to new heights as Netflix viewers have moved on from merely binge-watching shows to using them to predict the future. Yes, people on TikTok have started a bizarre but rather entertaining new trend that seems a random episode become a crystal ball that will show you what your future holds. The craze, known as the Psychic TV Challenge, was started by a user named @GraceBurgie, whose video demonstrating how to do it went viral, garnering over 2 million likes. Want to give it a go for yourself? Here's how you get involved. All right. To start, load up Netflix and put the initial of your first name into the search bar. Once the results have come up, pick a number between 1 and 10, and then count that number in the results, going from left to right across the screen to find a show to use. Click on the show and then pick another number between 1 and the latest season it's on if it has more than one season. For example, if the show has 12 seasons, you'd pick a number between 1 and 12. Then you need to select the number between 1 and the number of episodes that are in that season. Okay, this is getting way too complicated. Way too complicated. Anyways, that number is the episode you are using, so click on it. You then have to pick one final number between 1 and however many minutes the episode length is, and it might be a 30-minute episode or maybe a 45-minute one. Skip through the episode to that number, and whatever happens in the show at that point when you press play is your fortune. Yeah, okay. As people start playing the episode at a time, they've selected the main character. Gibbs says, passes away. The pair? Yeah, well, you know what? This is dumb. This is dumb. All right? I don't recommend doing this. Look, if literally your life is that bad that you gotta come up with some mathematical equation to psychically guess your future through Netflix, Turn off the TV. Turn off the TV. Pick up a book. There's some great books out there. I'm sure there's even great books in your house. Don't do this. This is just a waste of time. This is something that will make you cranky for no reason. No reason. All right? No reason. Let's just not do this. We have more important things to do right now. Oh, that story just bugs me. How dumb. How dumb. By the way, I picked that one. Captain Shirk did not. Guerrilla tourism in Africa has now been suspended while sanctuaries for other apes, such as orangutans, have been closed to the public. It's not known if great apes can contract the virus, but there are growing fears that our closest living relatives might be equally at risk. New measures have been put in place to protect big cats and their caregivers. After this week, a tiger at the Bronx Zoo tested positive for coronavirus. Dr. Kirsten Gillardy is Chief Veterinary Officer for Gorilla Doctors, which provides veterinary care to gorillas in the forests of Rwanda, Uganda, and the Democratic Republic of Congo. We don't know if it's infected mountain gorillas. We have not seen any evidence of that, she said. Well, that's good news. But because mountain gorillas are susceptible to human pathogens, we know that they can develop respiratory illness. Yeah. So what are they trying to do? They're trying to practice social distancing with the animals. The work the vets and rangers who care for the wild gorillas continues, but with added precautions. Much of what we're practicing right now, she says, in terms of social distancing and self-quarantine, are at the heart of the recommendations for protecting great apes as well. Good. Even before the outbreak, people were asked to stay 7 meters away from gorillas at all times. New guidance from the International Union for the Conservation of Nature calls for a minimum distance of 10 meters now from great apes, with visits by humans reduced to the minimum needed to ensure their safety and health. No person who is ill or who has been in contact with a sick person in the preceding 14 days should be allowed to enter the area. Good. Good. Let's make that happen. Moving on, a wildlife trust in Kenya shared the story of a rescued zebra that unexpectedly gave birth to a zonkey. So what's a zonkey? A hybrid of a zebra and a donkey. Well, apparently the zebra and the donkey, they were at this house party. The music was playing. The zebra is hanging out with her girlfriends. You know, and all of a sudden this donkey and his buddies come on over. They drop a little bit into their water trough. You know, who knows? Maybe it was some, coarse grass or maybe some clovers, and said, hey, let's see what we can do here. Well, one thing led to another, and the next thing you know, there's a little zonkey here. The Sheldrick Wildlife Trust said the female zebra wandered out of Tsavo East National Park and was rescued by the trust in May 2019 after an honorary member of a woman's cattle herd near the park. The trust placed the zebra at the Kenzie Anti-Poaching Team's base in Chiulu National Park, where the animal surprised the team by giving birth to a foal. It said team members noticed the foal was suspiciously light on stripes and overwhelmingly tawny in color. At first, we thought that it had just been wallowing in a mud bath, but the truth dawned on us. Our wayward zebra had given birth to a zonkey, the trust said. The trust said zebras have a gestation period of 12 months, indicating the zebra must have had an encounter with an amorous donkey while spending time with the cattle herd outside of the East National Park. Experts say it's highly unusual for a zonkey to be born to a wild zebra. See, this is what happens when you party with donkeys and zebras. Okay? Weird things happen. Those dirty animals. Oh, those dirty animals. A motorist caught speeding at 110 miles per hour told police he had traveled more than 100 miles to London to buy bread because it was cheaper. Officers stopped the man at about 10:40 p.m. this past Sunday as he was heading back to Nottingham on the M1. He was with his 2 young children and told police he had traveled to the capital because a loaf of bread was £1 cheaper during the coronavirus outbreak. The driver was given 2 fixed penalty notices and reported to court for speeding. The distance between Nottingham and London is more than 120 miles, and police said the man was stopped near Junction 22. The courts will decide the level of the fine. The second notice was under the Health Protection Regulations Act 2020, which comes with a £60 fine. It came into force in March to give police powers to punish anyone breaking the coronavirus lockdown restrictions. Okay, so let's do the mathematics on this. Okay. He drives 120 miles an hour or 100 miles an hour to go 100 miles to save $1, to save one pound. The mathematics were not in his favor on this one. Not in his favor. Thought of the Day happens every night at this time, where we ask a question on our Facebook and Twitter pages. Read your responses on the air because we love the audience participation around here. Today's Thought of the Day is as follows. It's Easter weekend. What are you doing differently for Easter this year? I'll tell you what upsets me. I'm Ukrainian. So every year I get a beautiful basket of the essentials. Okay, the essentials to life, which include bread, eggs, kielbasa, garlic, onions, horseradish. And then we go get that blessed by a priest. Cottage cheese is in there too, but I don't eat that. I don't like cottage cheese. And salt. And we go get it blessed by a priest and a minister, the minister. And then we go home and we pig out. And I'm not going to get my Easter egg this year because, you get the cool Ukrainian Easter eggs that are painted. I got 100 or so of those. They're fantastic. Absolutely fantastic. But I'm not going to get to do that this year. And I'm kind of hurt by that because that's such a beautiful family tradition that we have. So, got to figure that one out. Maybe I'll just make up a basket and keep it for myself. Maureen says I might actually take a break from the paranormal stuff and focus on my religion for a minute. Goddess Michelle, if you think about it, religion is paranormal. You can do both. Hugs to you. Marty, great clown tonight, Marty. Due to the pandemic quarantine, we are having a simple ham and sweet potato dinner at home. Oh, that sounds fantastic. Just me and my wife, he says. No other family or friends this time. Then we are going to watch some good paranormal television and have some homemade pie for dessert. That's a good dinner, Marty. Good dinner. All right. Goddess Michelle, she says, well, every Easter is different for me. It's because of my shift work, but this year we had our Easter supper today. I gave gifts to those that I felt may need help this week. I also gave to my own family. To me, Easter is about sacrifice and chocolate. Beautifully said, Michelle. Beautifully said. Science Bob is growing a fantastic beard, by the way, going online to go to Easter services. Anthony, the tattoo man, my birthday actually falls on Easter this year, so I am sleeping, he says. Let's move on, shall we? Debbie, got my kids candy and a few special items. There are 25 and 15. Going to color eggs and have barbecue ribs. Bought plastic eggs to hide in the house, staying in and being safe. How about you? Well, last year, I went and hid some chocolate eggs. Well, the Easter Bunny went and hid some chocolate eggs and some rabbits around, chocolate rabbits, that is, around my front yard. Problem was, the ravens were watching. Yeah, next thing I know, I see a raven fly off with the Reese's peanut butter cups. Then I see him fly off with one of the rabbits. I was like, you. But you know what? He needed Easter too, so he got some chocolate. Ilona, my daughter and I are going to make roast chicken for dinner. I will order my daughter an Easter gift online, as can't go shopping for Easter gifts. Plus, she isn't into chocolate anymore. Teens these days. Watch some Netflix and YouTube. It's going to be an amazing time. Kristen, time-consuming scavenger hunt for my boys. I got to keep them busy. Chuck, nothing, as in do nothing. Bachelor living alone, usually have dinner at my daughter's, but staying home is safer for everyone this year. Tina, solo Easter, no family gathering. Ha ha ha. Karen, can't get my Ukrainian food. I know that feeling. So not sure what I'll be eating. I will probably just have another day. Nikki, reading project, Revelations due to current psychic downloads. Kelly, I'm packing, cleaning, chowing down on candy while I do it. Bill Cardwell, number 1. I'm going for a walk in the woods looking for some bunnies I can dip in chocolate. we're going to end it right there. Thank you to everybody participating in the Thought of the Dave on Facebook and Twitter. Thank you to Captain Shirk for hanging on out with us and getting the news together for the SOR Newswire, which can be found on our website, as well as its Facebook page, the SOR Newswire. If you want to give that a like, we'd really appreciate it. And to Justin Cancilliere for coming in to be our guest tonight, talking all things cryptid, UFOs. You know what? We didn't even touch on ghosts with him, really. Well, I guess we did in the first half hour. We got Mr. Ron Bumblefoot Thal rocking in the background with Little Brother is Watching. Bumblefoot is the official music of Spaced Out Radio, rocking us in and out of every single show. Get your horns up for the guitar god himself. Special thanks to everybody listening in at home, in your cars, at work, wherever you may be. Thank you to everyone participating in our chat rooms on Spreaker, YouTube, LGAB, Revolution Radio, Facebook, the SOR Space Travelers Club on our website, and on Twitter at hashtag Spaced Out Radio. Yes, I love all you snarkers and snarkettes. Oh, yeah. We've had a good time tonight. Remember, this show is copyright by Spaced Out Radio and SOR Media Ventures Limited. Thank you so much for sharing your night with us. It's been a lot of fun, and we'll do it all again, because together, my friends,
Day and night, don't make a mistake. We're watching.
We own the night. Mr. Bumblefoot, we need a favor. We need you to take us home. Have a great night, everybody. We'll do it all again soon. We'll see you then.